Hey, black belt collector. Finally back with the Zabu Build-A-Figure wave. So really excited to get this thing built. I decided to do Wolfsbane, a figure that I'm very excited for, and then Red Widow in the same video because this is probably my least favorite of the wave just because I'm not very familiar with the character. So Wolfsbane and the Red Widow. It's a cool figure. I just don't really know anything about the character. So very cool artwork for both. Yeah, so I've opened up Cable and Black Winter, and I skipped Iron Man because you don't need him for a piece. So let's get these guys out of the packaging here. Talk a little bit about the characters. All right, got them out of the packaging here. So we'll start with Wolfsbane. Rain Sinclair, born with the ability to turn into a werewolf. I mean, how cool is that, right? Who didn't want to be a werewolf when they were a kid? She looks great. Yeah, I think she's going to put the rest of the X Factor figures to shame. She looks really, really great. You can tell this is a modern figure versus the other ones that are about 5 years old. We'll look at those when we get there. But this is, in particular, X Factor Wolfsbane, where she kind of ends up stuck in this transitional phase between human and wolf. These are good stories. So she starts out on the New Mutants. She's there for a long time, and she could turn into a full-fledged wolf. But there's this arc from X Factor where she kind of gets stuck in this transitional phase. So mine's got a little scuffing on here. No big deal. No big deal. The head sculpt looks great. Let me turn up the brightness. There we go. Yeah, looks really, really good. The yellow doesn't quite match. That's always more noticeable on camera than it is when you're holding the figure or when it's on your shelf, of course. Man, look at the detail. The button buckles and the zipper painted. Really cool. The X looks really clean, really nice. No pins, so pinless, double jointed arms and legs. I mean, this is right out of the box, so I haven't moved her around at all. Very stiff, so always suggest throwing these guys in a bucket of hot water or just letting the hot water run over them for about 5 minutes or so. And then the joints tend to loosen up quite a bit. So I tried to move the leg and very stiff. You can see already getting like some stress marks. Barely wants to move. So that is something to always be careful for. The head feels nice, but I couldn't get it to move at all. It won't move. There it goes. Yeah, that can be a little scary sometimes. So don't break them. Looks like there's already some stress on that as well. So just be careful with the figures. Definitely gonna throw her in some water before I move her around anymore. Now we'll move on to Red Widow. So I could talk about Wolfsbane for quite a while. I've read those stories. I love the character. She's been in movies, the TV show, all kinds of stuff. Red Widow, I am not familiar with at all. So I had to look it up, and it just says exactly what you would think. She was in the same red room that built Black Widow. There you go. So she's like a female assassin. And it said that she's affiliated with the Winter Guard. So, yeah, I don't really have any Winter Guard figures, but it is a cool toy for sure. The detail looks nice. I've got a little bit of paint scuff right here. Pinless as well, but you can't even see her arms. I don't know about this thing. I mean, it looks cool, but how is she supposed to move at all? She's not going to be able to hold her sword. I mean, whatever you call this, sphere, spear. then, yeah, I don't really know what you call this thing. Does it break in half? No, it looks like it would break in half right here, but it doesn't. So get her to hold it like that. The legs have pretty free movement, so you can probably get her in some cool poses. So she doesn't feel nearly as stiff as Wolfsbane. But yeah, I like the face plate and the black under her hood. I mean, the figure looks cool. Got a little symbol there on her stomach and on her hands. I don't know what that symbol is, but let me try to get these guys in some cool poses, put her in some hot water, and do a little comparison with some other figures. All right, so I got out X Factor and the Winter Guard. So, like I said, not super familiar with the Winter Guard. Russian superheroes, I guess. But I did pull out Dark Star. Yeah, I don't know what this red splotch is there on her chest. I must have done that. But this figure, nothing too special, but I really do like the head sculpt a lot. The eyes, they kind of shine. It's actually really cool. The hair looks very detailed. So, I don't know much about the character though, just a cool figure. But, of course, there's the Red Widow here. Move her over here. Kind of got her posed where she's on her toe. Seems to stay like that. So, but we'll set her down for now. And take a look at Ursa Major. So, again, I don't know much about the Winter Guard or anything, but this is one of my absolute favorite figures in my whole collection. It's just so cool. It's a huge articulated bear. Yeah. I mean, it's really, really cool. Very easy to build a figure. I think the pieces were all real cheap, but he just looks awesome on the shelf. Love this guy, and he fits in like any display, because he's just a huge bear. So I love that figure, one of the coolest ones in my collection. But X Factor. So as you can tell, this is kind of the suit, to match this team. The first thing I noticed was she is actually a lot more detailed than these guys. And there's the white on the X, so I wish that was white. And I wish he had white. I don't know if that's comic accurate or not, but that looks really good. And then it kind of doesn't really match. Man, I'm from this era. I'm a huge fan of this kind of Peter David X Factor era. So definitely was happy to pick up this 2-pack. I heard that these are getting re-released. I don't know if they're re-releasing these exact figures or if they're making new updated versions. They definitely need to be updated for sure, but I am not real excited to buy them again, so I probably won't. This Havoc is pretty rough. These things always fall off. They always fall down anytime you try to move them around. It's a little rough on the paint, but at least they painted the zipper yellow. Kind of makes them stand out. These guys are like the king of little feet, though. Look how little his feet are, and it makes him hard to stand, especially Strong Guy. His feet are so little. So this zipper is painted. The reason I mention that is because I noticed her zipper is painted silver and her buckles, and that looks really good. But then you look at Strong Guy. Yeah. I mean, you can't even tell there's a zipper because they didn't give it any love with the paint. So that sucks. I would love to try to paint that like with the same color silver. That would be great. I love the head sculpt. Perfect head sculpt. But tiny feet. Little tiny baby feet. I don't know why they did that. I think it's maybe like accurate to the comic, but it just makes them hard to stand. And then Polaris. I absolutely love this figure. Again, they needed to paint the zipper, right? I mean, I'm really glad they painted it on this one. It just makes the other ones look bad. But I'm a huge fan of Polaris. I love all the hair. It's wild, crazy, but you're not going to get much articulation because of all that hair. Yeah, she just needs a little love, a little love on the paint and everything. But I'm not real excited to get a new re-release of them, even if they're updated with new paint and all that. Anyway, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Really happy to have Wolfsbane in the collection. Everyone wanted this one for so long. Finally got it. They did a good job. I did hit her with some warm water for about 5 minutes, and everything just loosened right up. You can get her in much cooler poses than this. I just thought this was a nice sort of feral crouching pose. He's so big, and then she would be crouching. I think the dynamic works. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. See ya.